your connection in Southern Oregon and Northern California. This is News 10 at 6.
Today, the government shut down for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Across the country, thousands of employees went home. National parks did not open, and timber sales were halted. Good evening. I'm Rick Tillery. Thanks for joining us. Trish has the night off. It is day one of a government shutdown, and Congress is still trying to come up with a compromise. Meanwhile, national parks, including Crater Lake, did not open today. News 10's Caitlin Conrad shows us what that means for Southern Oregon in tonight's top story at 6.
People trying to visit Crater Lake today ran into this big roadblock, thanks to a government shutdown.
In fact, the only reason we were able to drive up was to talk to one of the few remaining employees at the park.
The park is closed to any other folks coming into the park today,
making Crater Lake a bit of a ghost town up on the rim. Chief Ranger Kurt Dimmick says at least the shutdown didn't come as a surprise.
It was phased in. Phase one was notifying our employees of what was going to happen and beginning to look at how to shut down the parks. Now we're into phase two, which is the actual shutdown operations of the park.
Most of the employees were furloughed except for a few rangers to keep the park safe and a crew to keep the plumbing going and the roads plowed. The inconvenience making travelers angry.
Next time when we plan on coming here, we'll look to see if there's going to be a government shutdown first and then come a little earlier in the season.
Jim Berger and his wife are here from Washington and were lucky enough to get in before the park closed.
So we were fortunate enough to be able to get through the gate before they closed it.
Yeah, we just made it.
We just made it, yeah.
Berger says some, like a tour group they met from England, were not so fortunate.
It'd be nice if they figured out, but you know, our government is kind of in turmoil right now, which is unfortunate for all of the folks that live here in the wonderful U.S.
And he's not the only one.
What we're waiting for is word from Washington that an appropriation bill has been passed, and at that point we will start the reopening process.
But it might not be open for long. Crater Lake typically closes in mid-October, which means anyone with lodge reservations isn't happy.
The only cars here in the parking lot at the lodge belong to people who got here before the shutdown, and they've been told to leave in the next 48 hours. Covering your news at Crater Lake, Caitlin Conrad, News 10.
The rim drive along Crater Lake usually reopens in May. Every single one of America's national parks and monuments closed down today, from the Statue of Liberty to Yosemite National Park. All tourists and visitors across the country were met with closed doors and locked gates. The House is now working to pass legislation to reopen the parks and monuments. Bureau of Land Management says as a result of the shutdown, all services will be closed. That includes 4,000 campgrounds, boat ramps, and visitor centers. All timber sales have ceased as well. Also, applications for new oil and gas drilling permits have been stopped. The BLM says they will maintain minimal staffing to ensure the safe management of the nation's energy resources.